Hi, welcome. My name is Diego. Now, if you know me and you know my channel, you can see that this is more of a different type of video. Most of my videos consist of gaming and vlogging, and they don't really require a lot of editing. So I thought about how we change things up and talk about anime. And I will also just make this video to start a new series called View Review. Well, I this series is basically consisting of I review anything like video games, movies, food, and at the end of the year, I'll rank it all down in a top 10 style list. So I thought, how about we start this series with our first show, anime, Soul Eater. Now, hear me out. I know there are people who think that Soul Eater is bad because of certain things that I'll get into later, but overall, I think this is a fun show. I will be going through the whole anime, and at the end, I will give you my opinions and thoughts. Without any further ado, let's get started. The intro is an 8 out of 10. It's catchy and it fits the tone of the story. Prologue. So, in the episode 1, we are showed that this is a different world, where there are demons known as Kishins and Meisters. Then, we are shown that the WMA, the School for Meisters, was created by the Grim Reaper. Okay, so we have our setting, cool. Then, we meet our main character, Soul Eater and Maka. And the first thing that we get to see them do is collect a soul and eat it. And we see that in order to become a death site, you have to eat 99 Kishin souls and one witch soul. So that's what the episode is about, getting a witch soul. But this is episode 1, so of course they fell. Instead, they just fight a cat with magical power. But then, out of nowhere, the next scene takes us to this kid named Blackstar. And nothing much happens in the Blackstar episode. All that happens is that Blackstar is hyper cocky, Brett fights this cool samurai, and that's about it. Oh, and also Blackstar has a weapon. Then we're also introduced to our final main character, Death, the Kid, Liz, and Patty, who are her weapons. Now, Death the Kid is the son of the Grim Reaper, making him already pretty OP, but nothing much happens. They fight this mummy thingy, which, like, to be honest, is not big of a deal, and it's about it. But that will be it for the prologue. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Episode 7 through 6. Now, Soul Eater works in a different way. Instead of focusing in one massive arc, Soul Eater makes a small arc that builds the characters in their own way, and eventually cross to make one massive arc. For this review, I will only be reviewing the important arcs, the ones who matter to the main story. So for our main story, we got the redemption arc. It's about 3 episodes, and our story starts Maka and Soul in a classroom, and Soul talking to Maka about how a teacher became a zombie. So Death calls Maka and Soul, as well as Blackstar, to take care of Sid, to find out who did it. So they go to find Sid in his grave. They fight for a bit until they defeat him and go to his lab. How did they find this lab? Who knows? But in here, we meet Dr. Stein, who defeats the gang in like 5 minutes. Now, I like Stein. He doesn't take anything serious, he's funny, and he used to be Maka's dad's first Meister. That's hard to say. So basically, he's really freaking strong. After a while in the fight, Maka gets depressed. Then Soul inspires Maka by saying some words. Then they power up with the force of power and friendship and go super duper ultra master mecha mode. And they defeat Stein, and I'm just kidding, they get defeated obviously. The whole thing is a test. So it doesn't matter anyway. Oh, and also Stein is going to be a teacher, so yay, more Stein. Oh, and Kid joined the school. So even though I guess I thought Kid already joined the school. I thought he was already in it, but I guess he's in it now. So okay, that's cool. Episode 7 to 9, the Demon Sword arc. Now, this arc is specifically made to introduce our villains, Medusa and Krona. And in my opinion, I think these two work as the villains, but before I get into why I like them as villains, let's look into the story. So, this arc starts with Sol and Maka being sent out on a mission to Italy to take out some guy. I forgot the name of him. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. But in the background, we get to see Krona do, well, basically eat souls to become a Kishin. But then Maka notices something spooky in the church, and they go to check it out as well. They go to check out something spooky, and well, Krona has a stand. So right off the bat, they're in a huge disadvantage. So they fight for a while until Soul gets really hurt, but then Stein and Spirit comes in to save the day. And no joke, seeing Stein full abilities was awesome and really cool. And eventually, and obviously, Stein defeats Krona, but Medusa saves Krona, and so they go, well, we probably won't see them until some time passes and Medusa is the nurse. How did nobody notice that she was a witch and then she's a nurse, she was the witch, and then not like she like it's not like she puts a mask or anything. Maka saw her. How did nobody notice that it's okay. Stein also noticed, but whatever. Also, apparently some of Krona has black blood, and apparently when Krona slashed Soul, apparently some black blood got into Soul, so that's impact on the future, so we'll see. Episodes 12 through 14. Okay, so before I review these episodes, I would like to briefly talk about 10 and 11, and in those two episodes we learned Tsubaki's and Blackstar's backstory, about how Blackstar is from the family of assassins and how Tsubaki has a brother that almost turned into a Kishin, but besides that, nothing important really happens. And Blackstar gets a new weapon now, which is cool, but that's about it. Alright, let's continue. So, we start the episode at the gathering of the witches, where we see the Grand Witch and some other ones. In here we meet Froggy girl. I forgot her name, so I'm just gonna call her Froggy. Froggy thinks Medusa is too risky, and well, she tries to stop her from making her experiments and stuff, but she tries. Instead, Medusa just puts her hands in her mouth, and it's all weird. And apparently, they got snakes inside of her. So she tried, but basically, since the Froggy now has snakes inside of her, she basically has to do whatever Medusa wants, or else she is dead. So one of the favors that Medusa asks to get to do for Froggy is to get a certain someone. That certain someone is the one who took the Grand Witch's left eye. So Froggy gets him out. They meet with Medusa. The guy makes a JoJo reference, and so Medusa tells him to kill Sol and Maka. And so he does. And I just love this guy. He's just funny and kinda intimidating until he goes to his wolf form. And so Sol and Maka are having couple issues and they can't fight well. Blackstar is there too, but they don't do much. And yeah, you may be asking, how are they gonna get out of the situation? And the guy freezes himself. I know I'm supposed to think it's dumb, but I just think it's funny. Oh, also there's something that I liked and that didn't like about Maka. In this part, I don't like how reckless and dumb Maka can be at certain times, but I liked how Maka realizes this and explained that the only reason why she was acting reckless and wanted to get stronger is because she doesn't want Soul to get hurt because of her. Soul hearing this gets a good understanding how Maka's been feeling, and so they grow closer and their bond is stronger. The only thing is that we're only in episode 13. I don't know if this is different in the manga, but we don't get that much time to get closer with the characters. It would have been better if we had more time to know the characters. It would have been better if they did it like they did it with Black Star and Tsubaki's backstory. Yeah, it's kind of filler, and it doesn't really tie into the story, but knowing their backstories gives us a way to relate to them. Now, not revealing their backstories is fine. There are a lot of anime who don't give their main characters a backstory. But in this story, they keep acting like it's important, and we don't know. So, how are we supposed to feel anything in this scene if we don't know what they both have been through? So, that's just some of my thoughts on to why this scene doesn't work. An example of a show that does something like this, where we don't have that much time to get into our characters, but still we have some way to relate to them, would be Demon Slayer. In here, we don't really have that much time. The show is short. It's only like about 20 something episodes, but we get to feel because we know how Tanjiro has been through. We know his backstory. We know his pain. So that's just an example of why we can understand Tanjiro better than Maka and Soul. Now, my opinion might change depending if they do anything with this scene in the future. So with this, it's the end of The Man with the Magic Eye. The next two episodes are filler fill actually. So I thought this was gonna be filler. It's short, but so basically Kid was sent on a mission to check out this ghost ship, and he faces off against this guy who I know I've seen before in One Piece. Where out of nowhere, Krona comes into and eat all the souls the pirate ship ghost guy collected. And Kid does a JoJo pose, and man, this anime likes to do a lot of JoJo reference, huh? Then, Kid and Krona fight. We get a sneak of to Krona's backstory. Then Krona and Ragnarok get away, but did you think that it's the end of the episode? Oh ho ho, no. Apparently Maka has black blood, and Stein knows that Medusa is a witch. So Sid, with his weapon, goes to Medusa's house, and well, of course there's a trap, come on. But not only that, Kid confronts his father about why he can't leave the academy. And apparently it's because there's a Kishin inside the academy. So it's gonna get wild, and apparently there's a school festival tomorrow. So things are gonna get crazy. Episodes 18 through 24, the anniversary celebration arc. So the WMA is having their anniversary to celebrate, and they have a big old dance. And while that is happening, Medusa is preparing to attack until Stein forces her to dance. In here, Stein confronts and tells us that Medusa wants to revive the Kishin, and that the Kishin is inside the school. So not only that, Medusa tries to make Stein join her. Right about as they were about to kiss, Sid shows up, and what makes Medusa's plan go into motion. Free, the guy with the eye, traps everyone in the box, but right about he does, Sid gets the gang out, and now it's up to the gang to stop the witches. And so they go, and on the way, we get to know how the Kishin was created, and kinda hinting that he is going to be revived. So yeah, but they keep going until they find Medusa. The plan is basically Stein versus Medusa, Kid versus Krona, Black Star versus Free, and Maka stops the Kishin. But of course, it's not gonna go that way. Instead, Maka wants to get revenge on Krona. So yet again another example of Maka being reckless. One thing that I want to mention is how I like the arrow ability that Medusa has. I just really like it. It's straight off a video game. Back to Maka and Krona though. So, it's really weird that Maka keeps talking shit, like he's not in a good position to act confident, like she keeps insulting Krona. She probably does that because she knows that she can't do anything against him.
So I say, hooray. And as for that Meister of yours, why are you always so nervous? It's pathetic.
Leave me alone. Why don't you understand? You're such a weakling. You'll just lose again. Why do you insist on fighting when you know you can't beat me?
Like in one instance, she's a sweet little girl that can't even hurt a fly, and it's nice to literally everybody. But in this fight, she's well basically lets madness take over. I haven't talked about it yet, but when Soul got black blood, a demon showed up in his head or his soul or something. And when Maka and Soul did the whole soul resonance thing to power up, it made Maka so she has black blood as well. and black blood basically makes madness take over you and makes you go crazy. We know this because right as Maka goes mad and goes crazy, we learn Krona's backstory about how he is a shy, peaceful person, but Medusa kept torturing him. By the way, Krona is Medusa's son. With he kept torturing him with Ragnarok, trying to make him someone that he's not. Until black blood comes out of Krona. That makes him go mad, so we see the same thing with Maka. I know I've been complaining a lot and pointing out things that I don't like, but in this part I felt something. So it turns out that the reason why Maka let madness take over her is because she wanted to get into Krona's soul. And we see Krona's soul. We see him as a child making a circle around himself in a sandy area. In the circle he says, "It's my circle. No one is allowed to come in here." Then he sits down and his shadow shows up and it starts talking to Krona, asking him questions. Krona's shadow is supposed to represent his subconsciousness. We see Krona's shadow ask him questions, and the questions that he asks Krona gives us a good understanding of how lonely Krona is. Krona doesn't answer any of the questions, and slowly we see that his subconsciousness starts to hate Krona. This represents how Krona hates himself for being the way that he is. But then we see Maka, and Maka erases the circle Krona made, representing Krona being out of his comfort zone. And then Maka hugs Krona and asks to be friends. Because even though Maka doesn't know that much about Krona, she knows that he doesn't deal with people well. Because nobody has ever taken the time to take care of him. That's all that Maka needs to know. Because that is something that everyone at some point goes through. Loneliness. And all that Maka sees is a troubled soul. This is what I like about Soul Eater though. It understands loneliness and the fear of not knowing how to deal with people. So now, Maka befriending Krona, we find ourselves with Kid and Blackstar, catching up to Free and Erica. They do as soon as Erica is about to inject the black blood, Kid and Blackstar show up, and they almost succeed at stopping them, but they were just too late, and so the Kishin is reborn. And the imagery and the way it's animated, it makes unsettling and creepy. And it's really weird. His skin like creeps me out. Like he stretches his skin and stuff, and it's all weird and Of course, when the Kishin is revived, Death tries to take him down. And apparently, Death has a different voice and a mask, but then Death makes some damage, and his mask is torn, and there is nothing. He is like a like Okay, so I thought Death was supposed to be like a human, cause Kid is a human, and I thought what he was wearing was just like a mask, like a costume or something. And apparently, when he is damaged, he's like a shadow. That's basically what I was trying to say. So yeah, apparently he's not human. So Also, this is the first time we see Death fight, and the more I watch, the more Death reminded me of Netero from Hunter x Hunter, where he is the strongest member of the good guys, but he's nice, lovable, and caring. So that is something that I noticed, and our arc ends with our weapons carrying their meisters. The Kishin escaping, and Medusa dead. I know. So basically, since we got a new villain, I guess this would be the perfect time to kill our first villain. So I'm okay how she died. Though Stein got a bit crazy when he killed her. Like he felt like too satisfied. Like he felt like really good about it. Like if you watched it, you know what I mean. And what surprised me most is that Medusa said that she loves Stein like romantically. I don't know if she's saying that to get into Stein's head or if she actually means that. Cause Stein and Medusa have had like a lovey-dovey, like a lot of lovey-dovey scenes. So I would believe it. But this concludes part one of my Soul Eater review. We are halfway done with the show. Next episode will probably come out in like 2 months or 3 months, cause this video took me like about 4 months, I think. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.
to talk seriously and honestly for a moment about
New favorite channel. It is so good. Oh my god. Look at it.